One of the bucket list trips for everybody is the Seychelles. It's kind of the graduate program of saltwater fly fishing. You know, you've done your destinations around the United States, and now it's time to travel a little further and get to some far off destinations. And the Seychelles is about as remote as you can go anywhere in the world. When you go to the Seychelles, you're limited on the amount of weight in your checked and carry-on luggage. It's 33 pounds for your checked bag and 11 pounds for your carry-on. That is not easy, particularly when you're investing in a little bit more expensive type destination to limit the amount of gear and tackle and clothing you can bring. So, to cut to the chase, here's how I figured it out. It's my second time back to the Seychelles. So this is how I break it down for you so you can have a little easier time traveling to the Seychelles. Couple hats, not too many. They're not too heavy. Clothing, I pack them in these packable bags so they're easier to move. For my lower half, 2 pairs of wading tights. They're tight, they're streamlined. It's a lot easier to wade fish in moving water, kind of Kiwi style we used to call it, with tights and shorts over the top. A lot more comfortable against chafing as well. 1 pair of long pants, 2 pairs of shorts, and a pair of boxers or something to sleep in. So really basic, not too much there. Again, keeping that weight down. And then for my top half, literally just 2 social cocktail style t-shirts or shirts. Only 2 fishing shirts, you know, because I'm going to wash them and I'll get to that in a second. The 2 social shirts, a couple pairs of socks, you know, good for wade fishing under my boots. So that's it. That's the only clothing I bring. These are not, you know, upscale, fancy dining environments. You can, you know, you're there to fish. So how I keep my clothes smelling fresh and clean is after I fish, when I get back to my room, I shower in my fishing attire. And I put shampoo in my hair and let the soap trickle down through the clothing. And then I strip down, do my shower, and then I rinse it and hang it to dry. Theoretically, those clothes are clean. I could wear that same outfit every single day. They will do laundry for you at most of the destinations. I just do my own. Next, I really like these small stuff sacks so everything's organized, particularly if you're doing multiple destinations in the Seychelles. This is kind of my little camera bag. So I've got a waterproof case for my camera, and then I've actually really these new little things that your iPhone can fit in, and this is a polarized lens for your iPhone. You know, camera gear is heavy. And so having all that heavy camera gear is going to, you know, reduce the amount of actual tackle you need. So these little deals for your iPhone are really cool. They keep them safe and make your pictures a lot better having that circular polarizer. Extra sunglasses, extra readers go in here. This is my this is all my leader material on tippet. So I like to have one that's on one of these spool deals, dispensers, with my 16, 20, and 30. And then that sits on the exterior of my boat bag backpack. And then I've got backup, backup 16, backup 20, and then 30, 40, 60, and then my 120 for the GTs. So that all sits in here, and that goes with me in the boat every day. Flip-flops. Pretty much these are the only shoes I bring besides the wading boots, because you don't want to add heavy hiking boots or anything like that. This is my kind of catch-all tackle bag, where I've got, you know, my pliers for transit, finger tape. I always like to have a tennis elbow strap in case you get into too many big GTs and your arm gets a little sore. Fight that carpal tunnel. Sunblock, sunscreen. I like these little wipes for your sunglasses and your camera. So basically all the little knickknacks. Line cleaner's important. I like the little line cleaner kit because you definitely want to clean your line periodically through the trip so there's less friction through the guides and you get better shooting capability on your presentation cast. Next, we've got reels. This is a weird one. I'm used to traveling with 3 to 5 reels for a trip where I'm going to encounter multiple species. The Seychelles, because this and your rods are the heaviest components of your packing, the reels are really tough. So I my style is I bring like a skinny flats rod and then a big game rod. So I'm bringing an 11 or a 12. In my case on this trip, an 11. So I've got an 11 weight reel with weight forward floating, big game line. And then I've got a 9 weight for my triggers and my bonefish, where the big rod's going to be for GTs and offshore species, billfish, sailfish, that type of thing. So only 2 reels. The issue with that is if one damages, so make sure you spend some money on a high-end reel. It's probably the single most important factor of your gear is the reel itself. All the destinations in the Seychelles do have backups in case you encounter a problem with your reel or you break a rod. These are my flies. I like it in a waterproof case because these are in and out of the boat. It can rain, you can get splashing, and you definitely want to protect your flies from the salt. I put 2 extra fly lines in here that match the 11 and 9. Really important to always have those with you in the boat. Lines, those GTs will shred line pretty easily. And then I've got pretty minimal, small, compact fly assortments. So these are my GT flies. Probably got about 30 or 40 of them in here, of different varieties and colors, and floating, popper style to heavy sinking in a Ziploc bag, which is super light. And then I've got my general shrimpy, crabby flies for bonefish and triggers and a variety of other species. And then just my A-flexos and all colors. And these would be for bumpies and triggers and just about anything as well. So again, really compact. Now these are these are 2 unique tools. This is hey, we're going to get out of the boat and wade for an hour. You don't need all this stuff. Well, I'll have it in my backpack, which we'll go over in a second, with all my main flies. But this waterproof little container, I can just put a day's worth of flies in here and have this in my pocket. It can get wet and not ruin the flies with salt. These little fly dryers, or if you don't have these, you can take a fly cup and drill holes in the bottom of it. And that way, when a fly is used and it hits the water, you can just put the fly in here and put it in the cooler and drain it, or take some fresh water and rinse those flies. It is really important because we invest a lot of money in our flies, right? They're not reasonably priced. We're talking, $6 to $12 for these high-end saltwater flies. We want to get more life out of them. And once that hook rusts, you got to throw it out. And so by rinsing them constantly, periodically, throughout the day, you can ensure that hook is safe, the materials are intact, and that fly is going to have a long life span to it. Also, when I get back to my room at the end of the day, I'll take these flies that I've used and I'll rinse them heavily, and then I'll dump them on a washcloth, let them air dry, and then I might put them back in here or here. And then after 2 or 3 days in the trip, I'll find myself not even going back to these fly boxes, but just working out of these 2, so I'm not getting a fly I've already got wet. And that is going to increase the lifespan of your flies. And I know we invest a lot. These flies can run up the tab a little bit. But if you're taking care of them, they'll last you a long, long time. And they work everywhere in the Caribbean and, Christmas Island and all that. So they're not just for the Seychelles, which is great. I like these little roll-top stuff sacks. They're kind of fun to keep everything dry, what have you. I'll just do this for now. Okay, so I love having hydration tablets or the powder. Really important. It's hot and you're hiking a lot, wade fishing in the Seychelles. Having these supplements are really important. Obviously, they're not going to have Gatorade there. I do like the low sugar ones. So whatever style you use, try to get the low sugar ones. Now for my rods. We know there's a lot of different manufacturers that make killer rod tubes that are super protective of your gear. They all are really heavy. So Jim had this great idea years ago and shared it with me, where you just go to an office supply store and get a poster tube or an architecture tube. They're very durable. They're lightweight. I reinforced the end with an old fly line spool. And I've got my 4 rods, 2 9s and 2 9s and 2 11s. I mark each one with what they are. So I've got a backup of the 2 rods that I'm bringing. And then these will go in my checked bag because you can't carry on that on the planes in the Seychelles. So that is my carry-on, checked luggage. Okay, lastly, boots. So this is probably one of the single most important aspects of your trip, because you're going to be walking a lot over uneven bottom, sharp, rocky, coral bottom to hard white sand, and maybe a little soft bottom. So it's really important to have rugged footwear. I actually put custom insoles in here, and make sure you wear them a lot before you go, and they're comfortable around the house. I like a good high top with good support, and then some gravel cuffs. The sock with the cuff attached to it gets a little warm during the day. It's hard to get in and out of. It's very tight fitting. So these are nice with a pair of socks. Again, before you go on your trip, wear them. Make sure you've got the right socks and the right fit. My tights also go over the top of these laces as a first layer of gravel guard, and then these go over the top. Do make sure that you clean them and you get all the sand out of this Velcro. Last year I lost one about halfway through the trip because I wasn't maintaining my Velcro. So it's really important to make sure those clean and that you get a good seal when you start your angling day. And then I actually wear these on the plane from Mahe to the destination to kind of hide my weight. They did ask us this year how much you weigh with your boots, but I kind of mask that by wearing them. So that's that. This is everything that I put in my checked bag for traveling to the Seychelles. We've already talked about how we pack our checked luggage for traveling to the Seychelles. Let's now talk about our carry-on, which has a dual purpose. So firstly, about the backpack. This pack's a little bigger than most. Normally I have a lot of camera gear and Sharpie markers and such, but the reason I like this pack over a lot of others are these exterior pockets. I love having the water bottle holder. In the Seychelles, they do provide water bottles for you, so you don't have to waste weight bringing your own water bottle. But I also keep some flies in here, or tippet, or leader. So I really like the side pockets and attached. I also really like the front pocket on this particular bag, because in the airport, it's my go-to stuff. I've always got my meds with me, my passport and travel documents, extra sunglasses, my readers, and gum or whatever else. And then there's this little hidden pocket for my cash and all that. So great access. It's not waterproof, but when you're traveling through the airport, you don't need that. And then I love the big bucket mouth. So instead of having this arduous zipper I got to rip through, I can look down in there. It's really easy to access stuff. So let's see what we have in here. First of all, I always have my DOP kit, all my toiletries and all that, in case there's a sudden overnight or what have you. If weight allows, bring an extra pair of flip-flops. I know I already showed you one in the packed bag, but I also bring an extra pair because you blow out this little tonguey thing here, you're in trouble for your trip. So having a backup pair of flip-flops is nice. Also, if one gets really wet and sandy, you've got a fresh pair for dinner. And then I've got all my electronics, my cords, my batteries, a speaker, if weight allows. I also bring one of these charging pads for my iPhone. I've had a lot of saltwater trips where the charging port just gets a little gunked up or stops working. Having this to lay your iPhone on or whatever phone is really nice to charge in an emergency, only if weight allows. The speaker and the pad would be the first things to go if I'm over that 11 pounds. Always my rain jacket. No matter where I go in the world, my rain jacket is always with me for obvious reasons, in case it rains. And so that's it. That's about 11 pounds for this for my carry-on. One other aspect of the Seychelles that is really important. You can leave a bag at the hotel in Mahe or at the airport that you leave in Mahe, the small little airport that you leave in Mahe to go to your destination. You can leave a bag with the clothes that you traveled to Mahe in, maybe your laptop, a book, stuff you don't need at the destination, maybe some of this electronic gear, even bring your passport with you, but leave the travel billfold. And then I also like to bring a weight with me. I like this one because you can set it here, and when it pulls, it tells you how heavy it is. For those who can't see very well, you can look at your readers on it. So this is a nice thing, and then I leave this in that bag, obviously, at the hotel or at the airport. And then when we get back, you just get that bag, kind of repack, and then you're ready to head home. You can even leave a fresh set of clothes in there for your travel home. So that's going to help you make that weight limit. Another last tip is I always do photocopies of my passport and laminate them and put them in all my bags. And that way you've got a backup. It's a lot easier if it's the exact size of the passport and laminated if you need to get that passport replaced. So again, Ian Davis with Yellow Dog Fly Fishing Adventures, packing for the Seychelles, all the intimate details that we've learned over the years. And thank you very much for spending time with us today. And we look forward to taking great care of you in the future.